Happy Monday. A good morning, good afternoon, depending on what time zone you're in. You have Carissa and Josie and Carissa coming to you from the East Coast. So it's afternoon for us right now.
Hey, happy Monday, second official Monday of the year. And so we thought it would be just appropriate to stick with the theme, which hopefully you guys aren't sick of hearing everybody talking about goals and resolutions. I don't really believe in the word resolution, but I do believe in goals. I do
Same.
believe in just setting your standard and what you're not going to accept, right? So we've talked a lot about aligning with that. We've talked about in a couple of our meetings, and sorry if we haven't talked about it on here, but we have lots of different things going on. And on one of our meetings, we talked about your word of the year, and we revisited that in a couple of conversations in our meetings. And so I'm just going to say my word again, which was value. And that is important to me to add value to other people in my world and also to receive value because sometimes that's hard for me to do because I feel almost guilt. Like, right? So when you ask for something from somebody, you feel guilty, but you have to set aside that and realize that people giving you value is really their gift to you, right? And when you deny that, you're denying them of their gift and what they were put here for. So, with that being said,
So
our
before you change, so
Mhm.
yes, I love that. I love your word this year. And one of my favorite quotes is a John Maxwell quote that says, before you can add value to others, we have to add value to ourselves, right? And so
Mhm.
it's just a reminder that like you can't pour from an empty cup, right? I think that's
Correct.
one of your sayings.
Yep.
Like you have to make sure that you're pouring into yourself. So not just goals or not just business goals, but also like just for mindset and spirituality and like all the different like seven buckets, seven pillars of your life, right? Whole different type of
Exactly.
conversation, but just the reminder to kind of keep that in mind as you're going into a brand new year. And I agree. I haven't believed in resolution since like high school, I think, because
Right. And
you just
last
don't
week,
stick to them. Like,
yeah,
and it's a running joke.
and truthfully, like last year's conversation wasn't about like, I mean, we it's in alignment with, us going into January and a new year, but it was like new year, not new me, because
Right.
we are
New
who we
Year, same
are.
you, but
Yeah,
better.
like you were made perfect the way you were made. And our job is to just accentuate those magical pieces. Okay, I don't know what else to say, but our gifts, our talents, and the thing about it, sometimes I believe that we fail to understand is sometimes like our faults and our talents or our strengths are very similar and just kind of when I say similar, the reason they are, it's like it's divided by a gray area. So where you might be, someone might say you're super persistent, someone might see that as a flaw and be like, "Oh God, she's so annoying," right? And so you
Yeah,
see that's
I've
what I'm
gotten
saying.
that
Like
before.
you, your strength could be overly organized or super organized, but your fault on that end could be you overthink and you feel like you can't launch till things are perfect, right?
Hmm.
So I just wanted to I mean, Josie and I talk about this all the time, and it's kind of like Josie and I are talking right now. Like, if your calendar isn't right, your day isn't going to be right, your week isn't going to be right, your month isn't going to be right, your year isn't going to be right. You get the theme. So I believe that the most important step is making sure you are time blocking for all of the things so nothing is being left out. And that isn't just work, guys. Josie said it earlier, just a couple minutes ago. It's life. Like, are you accounting for dropping your kids off at school? Are you accounting for, your networking events or just a massage, a haircut, getting your
Hmm.
nails done, filling that
Right.
bucket of rejuvenation in order to show up for everything that you must show up for.
Yeah. And like last week there was a I think it was a massage I saw on Val's calendar, and it was like a mid-morning on a slower morning she had. It's not like if a client called, I was like, "Oh, she's getting a massage right now. Like she's in an appointment," right? Because as the rainmakers, like they deserve that time. Like they're working kind of in this 24/7 weekend whatever space. So nobody needs to know if she booked like a personal appointment during like traditional work hours or whatever, because if people are reaching out to her at 8 o'clock at night, they're not thinking about that when she's trying to have family time. So it's just that, like, give yourself the permission to book those things and make the time to do those things, right? So whenever we talk about time blocking, the very first thing that should go on your calendar, like for the year, is any vacations, right? Or time off that you want to take. It doesn't mean that you have to have something scheduled, but if you're thinking like next month, I'm planning to visit my mom, most likely in Georgia. It's been my plan for a while. Haven't bought the tickets yet, right? So it's blocked off on my calendar that I plan to be in Georgia. So while I might take some appointments because I can still work remotely, I'm not going to do as many, right? And so like I've protected that. And maybe I don't end up going for one reason or another, but just in case, it's already protected. So you have to like approach your calendar like that. Put the days off. You know, the the weeks off, random weekends off, things of that nature. Start there.
Right. And it doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't have to be, I mean, you're living every second by, when I say every second by your calendar, like I have a lot of what I call white space on my calendar. And there's a reason for that because in our world, we know things come up all the time, right? And we want to
Hmm.
allow some flexibility. But that brings me into a conversation, honestly. Side note, it is in relation, but conversation I had with my brother over the weekend. I took a quick trip to Florida, just literally quick trip. My niece was is going off to the Air Force, so I just went for a celebration goodbye, farewell party. And in the
Yeah.
interim, I got to see my brother because he lives there. And in the company he works for, they do restoration services for homes that have been flooded and that type of stuff. And he said something interesting to me, and we had a discussion. It was not an argument, but it was a not even heated. It was just
Like a
difference of
debate.
opinion.
Oh,
What do you
yeah.
say?
I said like a debate, but yeah, just
Debate. Yeah, it's
different.
just
Yeah.
difference of opinion because the company that he is a supervisor for, basically, I'll give you the example. He was like, so if you called today and you needed, some work done because your air conditioning overflowed, they would charge you an emergency visit, even if it was during business hours, because it wasn't on their calendar. And I was like, that's very interesting. I said an emergency
Yeah.
visit, and just because it was on your calendar, I said, I don't know that I agree with that, but I mean, the way
Right.
you run your
Well, a
business is that
rush
way.
visit I've heard of, like, so I guess maybe they're looking at it that way. I do know some companies like a locks, I don't know, where it's like considered a rush visit if you need me like today versus I can
Right.
book you tomorrow or the next
And
day.
my
Yeah.
my argument with him was, okay, if you're a business running, right, like flip it to us. So I'm a realtor. I just so happen to have availability this afternoon. My job is to fill my calendar and make money, right? Not just fill my calendar, but make money. And if there's an opportunity for me to put an appointment on something that was completely blank, I'm going to do that. I'm not like not trying to fill my calendar, right? And so I could see after hours for those type of businesses like, okay, you need to come out at 11 o'clock at night because I don't know why, but whatever reason.
Hmm.
That understood. And he was like, no, because if it's not on the calendar, there's more work involved in getting things coordinated. And so that's when it clicked that I was like,
Yeah.
oh, okay. Are we the only industry that feels like we have to accommodate like this? And is that why our industry is on severe burnout all of the time? Because we feel like if we have white space, we have to fill it and not charge a premium for our time. Are we not worth it? Are we not figuring all of the pieces? Because there is work that goes into every appointment, whether you're showing a house or going on a
Right.
listing appointment or a buyer's consultation. There's work that's involved. So if I fill something this afternoon, should I be having a premium, or should I be blocking it off and saying, no, I have nothing available this afternoon and enjoying my white space?
Right. And I mean, and that's fair. And I think it's not just real estate agents, but I think most small business owners probably, right? Like which
Hmm.
real estate agents typically, unless you're running like a massive mega team, you're probably a small business
Right.
owner, right? Where there is that sense of it's almost a sense of scarcity, like, oh, if I don't let them do it today, then maybe they'll go with somebody else or whatever. But the reality is most of the time, like if somebody needs to book something, like it tomorrow will be just fine, right? Most of the time. Like for my calendar, if you want to like have a coaching type conversation with me, you can't get on my calendar with less than 24 hours. So I'll send the link out. And it doesn't mean if I don't have the availability, I might not personally add you on my end, but like you just can't do it on your end, right? Because I
Right.
set that boundaries. Because there's a sense of just mental preparedness that you have to get ready for. There is like if you're picking up your kids today and somebody wants to go do a showing at 5, now you do need to figure out like, okay, so if I need to pick up my son from soccer and then I need to be going here, like how far is the location of the house, right? Like that stuff does need to be factored in. So I get it that they would have kind of a premium for that. Also just a business tactic. It's a surcharge, but
Right.
but
And I
I
went,
can understand.
and that's where I was like, I went all around, like not understanding it, and then back to not understanding it. And then honestly, the real aha was maybe I need to look at my business.
Hmm.
Not saying I have to run it exactly like their business, but I mean, anybody that knows me knows that I don't fly by the seat of my pants for the most part, like when it comes to my calendar, right? So even if I have like personally, my friends will call me on a Saturday morning and say, "Do you want to do something this afternoon?" Now, if I most of the time if I don't have anything on my calendar and I haven't agreed to do it, I'm gonna say no. Not because I don't want to spend time with my friend, but my brain doesn't work that way. Like I literally have to prepare for almost everything in my life for me to not have anxiety, right? And so that's the way I deal with it. But the people that know me know that they're not going to spring on me. And if they do, and I decide to go, great. And if not, they almost always know, like, if she doesn't, I don't feel offended. It's not like she doesn't want to hang out with me. I just know how her brain works.
Hmm.
So, but
Right.
it did. It had me step back for a second and say, you know, it is okay to say no,
Yeah. And
right?
one of my favorite things that I say to you all the time is unapologetically, right? Because
Right.
you don't have to feel like you said you do it for your anxiety to not have the
Right.
anxiety, right? You don't need to explain that though, right? Like if you just don't want to go and someone starts pressuring you, then it's kind of just like, listen, I just no.
Right.
Like the answer is just, oh no, I'm not available. Like maybe not available means that you were already planning on binge watching some stuff on Netflix. Like side note, I binge watched The Following all weekend with Kevin Bacon. Addictive. I'm gonna just put that out. It's about serial killers. I have a thing about serial killer shows, but just saying. Um, and I still did other stuff, and yet like that, like for me. I was looking forward to not really having plans. Like I was sick most of last week, just came back from Vegas. Like my body just needed to shut down and kind of relax, right? And for the most part, it was able to do that, minus a couple errands that I ended up doing on Saturday. Um, but so to go back to what you said about white space, I think that's a word that people tend to forget about. So we talk about time blocking, and I see Stacy commented on Facebook that she's got to time block better. And it's something that most agents, most people need to do. And that's part of why we brought it up today, talking about goal setting and everything, because especially at the beginning of the year, if you haven't taken the time to one, write out your goals, and then two, actually look at your calendar to figure out how am I actually going to now achieve those goals, right? Then you're already setting yourself up to fail, right? So, like we said, starting with vacations, and then I wouldn't start with white space, right? From vacations, you add your actual fixed appointments. What are the meetings that you have to have every week or every month, especially if you're on a team? Like, put your team meetings there. If you have like a monthly office sales meeting that you want to be a part of, I wouldn't say every single training that your office is doing all week, every week, right? But the ones that are truly important that you want to be fixed placeholders on your calendar, block those off, right? Um, Kid pickups, right? The personal fixed appointments as well. If you're a coach, I know a lot of people who coach like the little leagues and things like that. Like put those on your calendar because that can impact your availability for showings or for other things in the evenings, right? And then from there, put the white space. And that is like literally just from like today, 12 to 1, was white space on my calendar. So it was blocked off so nobody could book an appointment because I needed that gap of time to be able, I knew I was going to be catching up from like our team meeting stuff and then getting ready to do stuff with Carissa, right? So that's what white space is. It's basically like time that you want to remain untouched, but you literally help yourself and block it off on your calendar. It could be 15 minutes to make sure that you have some gaps between appointments, right? It could be 30 minutes. It could be like a 3 hour block because that's going to be your admin day, or that's just going to be like you don't know what the day is going to bring. So you just want to leave some breathing room and let that be your catch-up work time, right? Like it's not something where you have to then fill. It's just white space, literally just that.
That is it. It is just there, just there to do what you wish. It's not, and a lot of people think of the white space as, oh, that's just time for me to just sit there and do nothing. Hey, maybe it is. Maybe it is. But it doesn't
Hmm.
have to be. But it doesn't have to be so structured where you're like, um, from 10 to 12 is my lead gen time, right? So that needs to be structured, right? You put your phone away, you do what you need to do to knock out that specific task. 1 to 2 is follow up. You are just doing follow up. But your white space could be you're just catch up, right? I need 5 minutes for my brain. I need 5 minutes to go to the bathroom. I need 5 minutes to do this. I need whatever it is. But
Hmm.
Josie hit it. Put the non-negotiables on your calendar, which
Right.
is you time. Number one, you time. So that's vacations, like she said. Those are, whatever you need, whatever you time looks like for you. But like the pickups, like she talked about, things that you do not want to leverage that are important to you. And then every day, I'm not saying it has to look identical, but a lot of the things we do should be identical, right? In the grand scheme of things, like my calendar,
Yeah, like have a routine to it.
right? Because
Yeah,
what pays off all the time? Consistency.
consistency.
Right? You're not digging 4,000 different holes. You have like the same maybe two or three holes that you're like constantly digging because we need to get to a certain level. And
Hmm.
so when you look at my calendar, it's like every morning, my morning starts off the same. And I have tweaked it a little bit this year to be a little bit more intentional because I have the rhythm that I want, but not the results. So I was like, in order to do better, I mean, get better, I need to do better. So,
Right. Something's got to
um,
change a little bit.
right. So
Hmm.
if you look at my early mornings, I mean, I have it on there for 6, but from 6 to 7, there's nothing that goes on except for me time. And that's my reading, journaling, um, whatever I'm doing during that time, my coffee, very important. I mean, believe it or not, it is like
I
essential.
forgot coffee today. I don't even want to talk about it. I don't
Good
want to talk about
God.
it.
How are you even smiling?
I don't want to talk. I had a protein shake. God bless that I brought that with me.
Oh
But yeah,
gosh, I
yeah.
can't. But then it's like, are you if exercising, I'm not saying everybody needs to, you should do some form of exercise, walk, yoga, stretch.
Right. And it
But
could be in the evenings or
yeah,
afternoon. Right. But
make
like,
sure that
do
is
you
on your
have it on
calendar.
there?
Yeah,
Hmm.
make sure it is on your calendar because it is it's the most cliche yet true statement. Like if it's not on your calendar, it doesn't
It
exist
doesn't
because
exist.
you have
It's
no
true.
accountability. Like this is really the only way you can hold yourself accountable, guys. And so you can control this. This is
Right.
and it's easy. It's easy to do. It is hard to keep up with. But the easy part comes with when you look at your calendar and someone asks you to do something and you look and there's something on there. Doesn't matter what it is. I can. I have an appointment. So if you are
Hmm.
the one that's a little bit in that stage of I can't say no yet, this is your first step is
Yes.
making it easy to say no, right? We don't need a reason because unapologetically, you should be able to say no if it does not do something for you or for someone else or move the needle in the right direction. But if you need this, this is going to help. And
Hmm.
that's what it does for a lot of us. Just like Josie said, it's an appointment. You don't need to elaborate anymore.
Right. And you just have to honor those appointments that you make with yourself, right? So I want to go a little deeper. I'm gonna put my director of ops hat on right now. So like I'm talking to the agents and a little bit to the ops people. So first, if you are an agent and you're like Stacey and you're struggling with time blocking, what are the things that you should time block? Lead gen is number one, right? Because that's your income generating activities, right? How are you going to make money to stay a real estate agent, for example? So if you're lead genning, I would say at least 2 hours a day is ideal. And that doesn't mean calls necessarily. And it doesn't have to be back to back. It could be like an hour in the morning and an hour like at 4 o'clock in the afternoon or whatever. Because you'll also have a better chance of reaching different groups of people at different times of the day, right? But lead gen can be calls, emails, texts, social media, DMs, but just being intentional with whatever that lead gen activity. I mean, it could be door knocking, right? Like, okay, whatever it's going to be. So your lead gen, your lead follow up. So that's separate from lead gen. So like if I'm doing DTD2 calls, that to me absolutely should like I make my coaching clients. You're doing DTD. If you've never done a DTD2 call, we're adding that into the rotation because that quarterly call system truly was the biggest thing that made a difference for our team here in Connecticut. So just DTD2, if you don't know what it is, just search the Facebook group we talk about all the time. The schedule's probably in there too. Um, so that should be part of it, right? So if you're doing DTD2, you shouldn't also then starting to be do a CMA, right? So like a CMA for somebody, that's a follow-up activity. So just block however much time. Maybe you need 30 minutes a day. Maybe for you it's an hour, depending on how busy, productive you are, right? So your lead gen, your lead follow-up, scripts and role play, or conversations, whatever they call it now. So that like 30 minutes tops a day, like you shouldn't be spending 2 hours doing script conversations, unless it's with multiple different groups of people, I guess, but like not in the same script space because that's just too long. But 2, 3 times a week at least, I would say, is good for like some kind of script practice. Like the really strong scripters, they do it multiple times a day, every single day. Um, and what am I forgetting? Negotiating contracts. So that's not necessarily something you could time block, but just know that you're going to kind of need that space if you're putting in offers and things like that to negotiate, negotiating inspection terms, things of that nature. And then appointments. So literally having like maybe you're doing your lead gen, admin work, all of that during the morning from like 9 to noon, and then you give yourself a break for lunch. So then from like
You have
2 or
jokes.
I know, like 1 or 2 o'clock till 4 is appointment. So if somebody's like, hey, I want to do a showing, great. I'm free between 2 and 4. Like, where in that space is going to work for you, right? So you put people where you want them to go. So part of that is just understanding what are the 5 priorities of a real estate agent. Now, if you're on the ops side, then that's where I'm going to suggest that you put things on your calendar. Like, if you're the one that does like listing inputs for new listings, so for us, like if somebody sends me a listing request, it's 48 hours required, right? So we have a Google form, they send it over. If you want the listing by Thursday, you better get me that Google form request by Tuesday, right? And then like it's blocked on my Thursday mornings for any listings that are going to go live because that's when, you activate showing time and blah, blah, blah. There's some extra steps the day it goes live, right? And then it's my responsibility to just fit it in beforehand. And so like those are some examples. So like listings, checking like we have a lead form. So like that's blocked for our database manager. She needs to check the lead form every single morning and transfer the leads like into the database. So whatever type of again fixed activities that you have on the ops side that you can time block for like every day or every week, I'd put that in there. And a block for training. I do think ops people sometimes they fail a little bit. You should be doing ongoing training to improve your skills. Maybe it's an MLS training, maybe it's something in the office, maybe it's something in just in your area. There's tons of free online trainings. There's tons of trainings that we offer, right? Like literally all over the place. And so it doesn't necessarily have to be every week, right? But whether it's monthly, quarterly, doing some type of very intentional training. So like on our team, on our GPS for our client care manager, she has like a quarterly training requirement that she's put for herself, right? And it started from when she was new. Now she's been with us a couple years and she's amazing. And yet she still tries every quarter to make sure she does some type of like bulky skills training. So
Yeah,
those would
I
be all.
agree with everything you said, especially when you're talking to the ops people. This is a hybrid conversation, so ops and
Right.
real estate agents, you have to hear this because if you want your ops to be successful, they have to have a schedule. They have to have structure because let's say, for instance, you have 12 agents on your team and you have one ops leader who's maybe doing everything, or she's got to oversee everything, or he's got to oversee everything. it makes it almost impossible if everybody's just coming to them with all different tasks at all different times of the day and expects it to be done, because what they don't understand is we're one, right? And while we have great systems that help us to get things done efficiently, for me, my biggest thing was the structure of, like how Josie said, she has a 48 hour, she has to have the stuff by Tuesday to go out Thursday. So I was the same. I had our listings, it was a non-negotiable, except like there's emergencies, there
Of
are
course.
things, exceptions
Right.
to the rule, but we listed on Thursdays. And that was because I had my calendar just like Josie on Thursdays. My whole morning was dedicated to listings. And that was for me to put in, because if we have 12 agents and we have four listings going live that week, if I have them come in all different times, my world is crazy. And then when
Hmm.
you have crazy, that's what comes out, right? So your
Right.
chaos shows externally a lot of the time. You're missing things. You're not as efficient. You're not putting out your best product. But if you're dedicated, your Thursdays is like, it's like a machine. Your Thursdays is just your listings. You have everything you need. You have everything to go out. You don't feel rushed. You don't feel like you're jumping here, jumping there, going here, doing this. So understand that that is key in when you are doing your time block. Think of the things that you are responsible for on the ops side and making sure you had designated time. Like for me, it was in the mornings, was Monday mornings was my feedback from the weekend. And the reason I did that was because over the weekend I wasn't working, right? Maybe I was, but not forward facing to the public. And
Right.
the showings that go on, everybody wants to know what happened. So I would just get ahead of that. On Fridays, it's the simple, hey, just checking in, letting you know that while I'm not in the office, same email went out on Fridays. I'm not here on the weekends, but if you need me, shoot an email and I will provide you all the feedback or anything that went on over the weekend on Monday. And guess what? I did that. So with doing that, they entrusted that they would get what they needed and they weren't asking for it. And when you are proactive, you really get ahead of a lot of problems. So
It's
it's a
true.
mix of everything in that.
Right, right. And then like the same with offers, for an offer, the same. We do it for our agents. I know a lot of agents, teams, they do it, they make the team member do it themselves, but that's a leverage piece for us. But I still need 2 hours, right? And so that's it, like it says it right on the form. So if it is like 3:55 and I think 4 o'clock's the cutoff, um, and you want to send an offer over, like I can't guarantee that I'm going to be able to support that, even if it's 3 o'clock, right? And like my cutoff is 4 because I'm like depending on what else is happening for the day, because of the fact that like you don't know that I'm not in a Zoom meeting. I might not see the offer request for like 30 minutes or an hour, right? I might be tied up meeting with another person. And so that's like it's all tied together. The expectation can't be that I'm just going to drop what I'm doing and jump into something for you, right? For the agent. Just like she said, we have multiple agents on the team. So if everybody had that expectation, like that I'm just everybody's personal assistant, then then I would not be able to function sanely and be able to get my own work done at that point, right? And so all of that, right, just ties back into just protecting your calendar. Like this is literally, we could go on for like an hour on this conversation. We really should actually, while we're talking, I'm like, we should teach a class on this and just make it like a free
Right.
1 hour class because I know it's something that a lot of people would benefit from, right? Understanding like how do you goal set? How do you really protect your calendar and how the two tie together, right, hand in hand? Because again, if you don't have the goals written out, then what are you even working towards? And then if you don't have your calendar protected, then how is that actually going to help you support the goals that you're working towards?
Right. It just feels like a hamster wheel at that point.
Exactly, exactly. And as an ops person, so agents might, they're not necessarily paying attention to that until like they're stressed. An ops person, you're going crazy from the beginning because you thrive with stability, right? You're like a high S, high C. So as an agent, you need to understand that the disc, most likely, if your ops person is going to be high S, high C, where they like stability, they like consistency, they don't like living in that chaos realm. And that is how I've seen a lot of ops people quit when their agent can't help them find that balance and that kind of stability in their workspace. So,
Right.
the conversation, like Carissa said, it's really like it's two sides of the same coin, and it all just kind of ties together.
It's just like a marriage. That's all. It is. It's a
Hmm.
marriage. you have to understand that the other part has needs, and their job, even though as a rainmaker you're paying your ops, your job isn't to use them as a doormat, and their job is not to fix you, right? Their job is to maybe clean up a little bit after you, because you might not be that SC personality where everything has to be
Right.
in order, but respect their calendar and say, okay, these are the times that you're going to dig in and start cleaning up my mess, right? So that's all. I mean, they're little tiny changes that add up to huge results.
Right.
And we cannot get better if we don't do better. So what's going to be different about this year as opposed to last year? What are you going to commit to changing on your calendar to be more intentional?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And I'm going to repeat, start with the GPS. If you haven't, you need to get that 135 done. Get your annual goals locked in and then look at your calendar. Does it make sense? Does it actually support how you want to run your business? Don't worry about what everybody else is doing. Everybody else says lead gen 9 to 12 a.m. Horse posh posh. Okay. Like just focus on what is going to make sense for your business. And just even how if you're not a morning person, you're not going to be getting on calls at 7:30 in the morning like I do, right? Like the pivot call, like you're just not going to do that. So if you're someone who flourishes more at like 10 a.m., then okay, so then you start your business at 10. What does that have to look like for you to be effective and productive?
Exactly. This is your world. Remember that. You wanted it.
Yeah.
You showed up for it. So now,
Somebody just heard like, dang, I did ask for this. Dang.
yes, because if you want someone else to run your life, that's what corporate America is for, and there's nothing wrong with that. That there is nothing. If there's a lot of people that love knowing they go into work at 9 a.m. and punch the clock and then leave at 5, and they don't have to think about it, and that's their thing. You signed up for this world that you are the one who creates the good, the bad, the ugly, and everything in between. So just
Mhm.
make sure that you're constantly checking on it to make sure this is what you want and how you want it, because you can change it. Nobody else is telling you to do it. You're your own boss.
Absolutely. Well, we've gone down a rabbit hole, but it's such a good conversation. And so, like, if you're struggling, like, chime in like Stacey did. I mean, if we can give specific tips, we gave a lot. So this might be one to go back, rewatch, like listen to again, right? Make sure if you probably weren't taking notes because usually we just go off the cuff. So go back and take notes on some of the suggestions we gave. And then yeah, we'll definitely put together a class or just give us some time to figure it out at some point in 2026. I make no promises of when. But it'll definitely be a good conversation for us to just go deeper on in a more formal way.
Absolutely. Yeah. And if you are in the Ops Insider community, if you have a membership to that Wednesday, we're going to dig a little bit deeper into the 2026 goals and how we're going to crush them. This is going to be obviously a huge part of it, but we will dig a little bit deeper for you because it's really about mindset and just changing your thought process. Because, I mean, really, we're not changing you because you are who you're supposed to be. We just have to sometimes tweak habits and consistency and create that discipline.
Yeah. Yeah. All
Oh, it's
right. On
Wednesday.
that
I meant to
note,
say
oh,
that's
go ahead.
Wednesday. We're doing that. So if you're not in the ops community and you want to be, you can sign up. It's a 30-day free trial. So
I almost forgot.
I
Yes, we're
know.
doing a 30-day free trial. As long as you
Yes.
sign up between now and January 30th, it'll be 30 days from whenever you sign up. So if you sign up on January 30th, then you get 30 days going into February.
Mhm.
So just sign up. I will drop the link in the comments on Facebook, or just go to our website, the real estate operations institute.com. And you'll see it right there at the top. Sign up free for 30 days, join our community, get a little taste of what it's about, get access to the resources. And yeah, we'd love to have you in that. It's a mini membership community, we call it. It's literally $12.99 a month, like cheaper than Starbucks.
It is.
Yeah.
Ask my bank
All
account.
right. Well, have an amazing Monday. Have an amazing week. And we will see you guys back here next Monday for our real estate unfiltered conversations.
Talk
Oh,
to y'all
wait,
later.
no, I'm
Wait.
just kidding. Next Monday is Martin Luther King. So we're not going to be on next Monday because I honor MLK Day, but we'll be back after that.
Yep. Well, we'll check you guys out later.
All right. Bye.
Bye.